We got more TJ Loves Fights. And what happened to Paddy Pimblett? I don't really know much about this guy. I haven't seen him fight, but I heard everybody loved him, and now everybody hates him in a week. I don't know how, but we're going to find out.
One of the most likable fighters in the UFC to one of its most hated in about a week.
That's crazy.
So what happened? Before this video starts, I wanted to say Paddy is a pretty good guy. He released a video about, mental health awareness for men.
Okay.
Which is a topic that should be discussed more often.
Honestly, should.
So I kind of feel like a piece of shit for dropping this video.
Why?
Like a couple days after that video, but I kind of worked hard on this video.
Why? Bro, that got nothing to do with it. If you like him and you're making a video about why people hate him, what's that got to do with you? I don't understand.
And I put a lot of hours into
I don't understand, but get to the video.
In record-breaking time. See, when once beloved fighters become very hated by the UFC fan base, it usually takes a lot of bad decisions and a series of unfortunate events for their image to be tarnished.
Damn, wait, hold on. McGregor punches elderly man in the head? Damn. What the old man say?
Bad decisions and a series of unfortunate events for their image to be tarnished. But in Paddy's case, it practically only took 7 days for the entire UFC.
This is pathetic and embarrassing for Paddy's reputation. It really showed his true colors here. Ariel always had him on his show way before anyone was talking about him in North America. Took that well-deserved verbal 10-7 from Helwani right on the chin. I guess he pissed off Ariel. Ariel's like a news guy for the UFC. He's really loved.
Fan base to turn on.
Even I know about him, and I'm not really into UFC.
Seems like the whole UFC community.
The awkward moment when your own fans tell you you clearly lost. I was shocked when Bruce said you won. I never ever saw the MMA community so unified. Everybody knows Gordon won.
He has united against Paddy Pimblett, and I wanted to showcase
how he won a match and everybody thought he lost.
Before I begin, I wanted to mention that there are a lot of great video essays already out there on YouTube documenting the problem with Paddy Pimblett, his delusion, the controversial fight he had with Jared Gordon, and also the Ariel Helwani situation, all of which we'll get to later in this video. But I wanted to compile all of these things into one video and kind of demonstrate a timeline of when he was very liked all the way to the point we're at now where he's very hated. So let's begin. Let's go all the way back to last year, 2021, when he exploded on the scene with his debut against Luigi Vendramini in the Apex. If you haven't already watched this fight, I suggest you check it out. It's an absolute banger.
Oh, free?
Fight.
I can watch it.
UFC channel, and it's just one round of pure action. The fight actually starts with Vendramini getting the best of Paddy Pimblett when he lands a huge left hook over the top that rocks Paddy, and then he also goes for a successful takedown.
Okay.
However, Paddy does get up, and they start to trade back and forth for the next couple of minutes up until the point where Paddy kind of finds his range and starts barraging Vendramini with punches and finishes him with the TKO. Not only was this an awesome finish, but the post-fight interview was just as entertaining. He blessed us with his beautiful Scouse accent and a bunch of amazing quotables. And I remember the internet at the time could not get over how ridiculous he looked. I mean, his hair is beautiful. That bowl
bro, that's a whole Tyler the Creator haircut going on when Tyler put on the wig.
Is awesome, and he looks like the 5th member of the Beatles.
Or the Beatles.
Now, before this, he was a pretty big star in Cage Warriors, which is a fighting organization that a lot of European stars have come out of, such as Conor McGregor and Michael Bisping.
Okay.
But this debut definitely...
So it's like the G League.
He blew up his name, particularly to
Europeans.
North America. And the Paddy the Baddy love would only grow from here, as he would have two electrifying submissions, both rear naked chokes in the O2 Arena at London, England during UFC fight nights. And it was kind of hard not to like the guy. I mean, every one of his fights was a banger, whether he was getting hit or he was hitting his opponent. All of his fights ended up in him getting that finish. He had great charisma, he was really good on the mic, and he also had a very powerful and heartfelt message about mental health and mental health awareness in his post-fight interview after his finish on Jordan Levitt. Additionally, he had great social media presence.
Bro had
his
a
YouTube channel is pretty exciting even after all of this drama. He showcased his training as a fighter. He is also very known for ballooning in weight when he's not fighting. I documented this in one of my videos, but he ate like a madman when he was out of camp, and people seem to enjoy his life outside of fighting as well. So how did this rising star that was pretty much loved by his community come to the point where we're talking about him being really hated? Well, it all started when he dropped his
13
podcast
days
with
ago.
Dana White. In this podcast with Dana White, he would preview UFC 282, which was the event that he was co-manning for, and they would talk about the event, the UFC in general, and for some reason it got to the topic of journalism, and then this is where the tone of the podcast switched.
Okay.
In this segment, Paddy brings up Ariel Helwani, who is an MMA journalist.
Legendary
and he
journalist.
just absolutely shits on him, calling him a rodent, a rat,
Damn.
and personally attacks him.
What do
He
you
says
do?
or claims that Ariel Helwani has been taking advantage of fighters by making money off of their name in the interviews that he does with them, and he's basically in the wrong for not paying the fighters he's interviewing. And it's kind of ironic that he's saying all of this and talking
On an
about
interview?
exploitation of fighters in front of Dana, of all people. If you want to check out this video about me, I go in depth about how Dana has kind of taken advantage of fighters and taken opportunities away from fighters to make more money. But the whole situation was...
So he's mad that Ariel is doing interviews and not paying the people that he interviews. I mean, honestly, isn't that like a normal thing? Like, if you want to do an interview, you just go and do it. You don't normally pay for it because the interview is for you to promote your brand and whatnot. Like, I know hip hop artists, they go on to like Hot 97. They don't be like, oh, Hot 97, you want me to come on? You got to pay me. Unless they, you know, super crazy famous and they got a big head about it. But normally it's just like, hey, can we come, or can, like, they'll call up like, hey, can we schedule an interview or something like that? And then the artists either say yes or no. Like, I don't know. I mean, you know, nowadays everybody wants a lot of more money, which is fine, you know, it's normal. But, you know, a paid interview, I mean, how much do you want? Like, is he asking for $100 or $100,000? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I guess at that point, it just, you know, how much do you think you're worth for an interview, right? Like, the interview's probably going to get, like, at most, let's say it gets 1 million views. Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of money, right? But at the same time, that's 1 million people that tuned in to see your interview. And whatever you promoted during that interview, 1 million people have saw it, and they might have gone out and purchased whatever it is, probably making you more money than the YouTube video itself. So, I don't know.
Just really ironic. And well, the MMA community did not take a liking to what Paddy said. And for those who don't know, Ariel Helwani is one of the more respected MMA journalists. He's been in the game since
a long
the beginning.
time.
And besides probably Joe Rogan, he's been one of the most recognizable and OG parts of the sport.
Yeah.
This isn't a perfect analogy,
Stephen A.
but
Smith,
Ariel
baby.
Helwani is to the UFC as Stephen A. Smith is to basketball. He gets memed on, but I think generally both communities respect those guys a lot because of the dedication to covering the sport.
A lot of people hate Stephen A. Smith, but if Stephen A. Smith died tomorrow, there will be a lot of people saying, man, we lost a legendary commentator. Guaranteed.
But then Ariel would clap back with a response of his own in an hour-long segment on his show where he basically exposed Paddy and all of the things he said in the podcast with Dana White.
Okay.
The biggest moment and key takeaway from this segment is when Ariel Helwani would expose Paddy Pimblett.
Oh, he got it in his hand.
Message that was sent to him, basically insinuating that Paddy would come onto the show with Ariel. Ariel would agree. And then Paddy would set Ariel up with his manager, but things would get a little weird when Paddy's manager would ask Ariel for
it's always the management
because
team.
I guess Paddy was too busy to be on that show unless he got paid. And here, this is where Ariel Helwani would make a really good point. He basically says that this is typically not how journalism works. With these big name athlete interviews, there's mutual benefit for both parties. Basically, the guy conducting the interview is able to have a big name or a rising star on their show.
Come to the show.
Viewers, the person who is being interviewed gets more exposure and allows fans to see another side of them, a more personal side to them. So with both sides mutually benefiting from one another, traditionally there is no form of payment between the two parties. Ariel also explains that he has had much bigger stars than Paddy on the show, such as John Jones and Conor McGregor. So for Paddy to be the first person out of all of the people he's interviewed to ask for a form of payment,
you're crazy.
So it just felt like Paddy felt entitled, or he wanted some type of star treatment. So going into UFC 282, he definitely lost some fans and some likability with his handling of the Ariel Helwani situation, but
at the end of the day, that does not matter as long as Paddy puts on a great show. As long as Paddy keeps winning, it don't matter.
he could erase all of that with his fight against Jared Gordon.
Facts.
Somebody who
Facts.
everybody expected Paddy to beat. But unfortunately for Paddy, this is where things went south.
Oh, damn.
I remember watching this live with my bro, and Paddy was dominated by Jared Gordon from start to finish.
Damn.
Gordon kept landing those same damaging shots. It was usually the left hook, but also sometimes the right hook. And it seemed like Paddy was getting clipped by everything Gordon was throwing. At the end of the fight, I had it 3-0 for Jared Gordon. I thought it was a pretty clear, dominating performance by Jared. He landed the much more damaging shots. You could maybe give round 2 to Paddy because the punch stats were much more close. But Jared Gordon definitely had the first round and definitely had the third round with
100 strikes. Okay.
So when the decision was announced, and mind you, a unanimous decision for Paddy Pimblett, everybody was unfortunately, Jared Gordon was clearly robbed in favor of a rising star, and what made matters even worse is that Paddy Pimblett asked Dana White for fight of the night. And the thing is, this fight was not only a robbery, but it was by far the worst fight on the main card. Now we come to the final nail in the coffin, which is doubling.
I don't get why he's being so buddy-buddy with Dana White, bro. Dana White sees you as a product. You guys are not friends, okay? There was a point in time where Dana and Conor were best friends. You know, Conor was at the top of his game. Dana White is right behind him, supporting him all the way. As soon as Conor fell off, Dana kept going. Paddy, as soon as you fall off, Dana's gonna find the next big star. You think you're the best of the best to ever do it? There's gonna be somebody that comes behind, and they're better than you. And guess what? Dana's not going to be there in your corner. I don't get why these big stars think that the fucking boss is their friend. I don't understand that. It's so crazy.
So after this fight, Paddy goes backstage, and in a video that he posted on YouTube, he would double down and say he did win that fight. And not only this, he would call out all of his critics as haters. He was so adamant that he clearly won the fight, and he never once admitted how close that fight was. He truly thought that that fight, in which he was dominated from start to finish, was
but he still won. He won.
I love the comments in this comment section, because even Paddy fans wanted to let Paddy know that he lost that fight clearly. Everybody, whether they were Paddy fans or not, were united under the fact that he was delusional and that he did not.
Damn, he said you lost everything though, including that fight. He meant to say your integrity, credibility, and fans respect and more. Damn.
In that fight. So this is where we're at now. A once beloved star with great potential turned into one of the most criticized and hated fighters in a record-breaking time.
Bro,
so the following is just my opinion.
I think they'll get over it.
Take it with a grain of salt. But what I think is that stardom went to his head, and he became a megastar way too quickly. He became a huge star in the UFC in like less than a year, and he looked like the new face of the sport. I think this is what led him to feel entitled to demand payment by Ariel Helwani. This is also why he denies losing to a guy like Jared Gordon, who's outside of the top 15. And I think this is what led him to double down on the fact that he thinks he won against Jared Gordon and refuses to believe that the criticisms that are in his comment section is not hate. So what do you guys think about Paddy Pimblett? I think, you know, it's pretty early in his career. He can turn this around and maybe
100%.
Admit that Jared Gordon fight was pretty close. Maybe admit that
I think people will get over it.
From Ariel Helwani. Who knows? I think he's a really good guy. I want to mention that.
I mean, I think people will get over it. I mean, this is a great video. But honestly, yeah, like, people will get over it, man. It's not that big a deal, honestly. He talked trash. He thought he won. He barely won. He demanded payment from a journalist that's really loved and respected. But as long as Paddy keeps winning, people will hate him. They're going to hate him the rest of his career for this shit. But eventually people get over it. People hated Floyd Mayweather too. Floyd Mayweather hasn't lost a single fight, making millions. People make fun of him. You can't read. Blah, 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 blah. He still wins. He still gets money. He still gets showmanship. It don't matter. At the end of the day, people will hate him, yeah. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. Yeah, it's legitimate fans that hate him. And they might not become a fan ever again. But there are some people that aren't going to remember this. Or they'll never know about it. And they'll still love him. They'll love, as long as he keeps winning, it don't matter. But that's my opinion. Great video, TJ. TJ has some great videos. I can't wait to see him get 100K. I think TJ will get 100K probably, shoot, at this rate, 40K, probably by June, May or June of next year. I think TJ get 100K. So good luck, bro. It's your boy Miss. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.